communicating your research ideas is a very important part of science communication. And therefore, without further ado, shall we invite Dr. Desiree Puan to take over the presentation, please. Thank you.
Hey, sure. Okay. Hi, everybody. You still can see my slides, right? Okay, good. Okay. Right. So I think your teacher has introduced me, so I wouldn't. So let me give you a bit of introduction about myself. So as I was introduced, I'm actually a scientist in A star. To be more specific, I'm a behavioral scientist. I'm trained in psychology, so I study human behavior. So for any one of you who is slightly interested in psychology, psychology is super broad. My specialty is in social psych. So basically, I look at how the bigger social environment, like your friends, your family, your culture, things that you see online, things that you experience every day around you, how does it affect mental health for young people like yourself? All right, so this is actually my entire research topic. All right, so today I'm here to really share with you a bit of glimpse into what being a scientist is all about. All right. So a lot of people when they talk about doing science, so what are some of the process? So first you think what you want to do, right? You think about what's the question you want to solve, then you read a lot. That's when you do your literature review, find out what people have done before. I've always been taught that we stand on shoulders of giants, right? So our research is always built on what other people have done and we contribute more. Right, so we read a lot. That's your lead review for you to write your introduction and your discussion section later. Then you think about, okay, so I have a research question, I have a problem I want to solve, and I need answers. So where do you get answers? You design experiments, you collect data. That's the part that a lot of people associate science with, right? Or your wet lab, or your doing experiment stuff. Then you have all your data, right? From all your experiments, maybe surveys. I do a lot of surveys. So that's where you analyze your data. Then you need to write out your report, right? Because you need to share what you have done and what you have found, and is your question answered. The last part, then you need to communicate your research, right? So this is the part that we are gonna focus on. This is science is not complete until you have shared what you have done and what you have found. So this is something that we don't often say, but it's really something that we always live by, that science is not finished until it's communicated. So in our context, at least in my context, when we do science, my project is not finished until I can write it up into a paper, I could publish it so I can share it with other scientists. I share it at a conference, right? What I have found, I share it with maybe government agencies who are interested. I share it in talks with non-scientists as well. So my science has to be communicated, else it is just a hobby, right? It's just something I do at home for fun. All right, so that's not science. Science has to be communicated. So that's how important scientific communication is. So let me dive deeper into what scientific communication is and how do you, I'm quite sure that you are doing your research project. After that, you have to learn how to communicate your research as well, right? Your project. So I think a lot of people misunderstand. Science communication is really not about what you have done or how hard you work. Everybody know you have worked very hard, right? So I think when we are starting, I made the same mistake as well. We always have this temptation. Oh my goodness, I need to tell everybody how difficult my experiments was, how tedious it was, how many steps, there's so many steps I have to do. It doesn't help, right? Because science communication is about a story. You are telling a story. You are a storyteller, right? What basically it's just three questions. What's the problem you're trying to answer? Why is this problem important? So because you are basically trying to convince people, hey, you need to listen to what I have found because it's important, right? So they need to convince me there are so many problems out there. Why should I listen to you? And what is the answer that you found in your data that So what is the answer to the question? What is the answer to the problem, the research problem that you are answering? So let me use another analogy that make it a bit more clear. All right, doing science sometimes a bit like this. You're trying to find a dragon. All right, so you are the researcher, right? Researcher is the knight that is trying to fight the dragon, and the dragon is the research question, which sometimes it really feels like that, right? It's really hard. Research is hard, right? So what do we want to know? What or who is the dragon? There's a lot of type of dragons in the world, right? And why do we need to kill the dragon? So you need to convince people that, hey, this dragon is dangerous. We need to dedicate time. It's important. It has implication. You don't kill the dragon, it's going to destroy all the towns and all the villages, and all the cities in the world, right? And then, so how do you kill the dragon? Is it with a sword and a shield, or are you a mage? So for those people who play games, or are you a wizard, or you kill with magic? So how do you kill the dragon? Or was it just accidental? You managed to bluff the dragon, and the dragon banged the wall and died, right? People are not interested to know how you became a knight, how you went to find a dragon, how it's very difficult to find a dragon. Nobody cares. It's details that distract your audience from the main story, from what is important, right? So there is a lot of type of scientific communication. I briefly mentioned just now, writing papers, giving talks. So I'm going to dive into a very specific part of scientific communication, and that's called posters, right? So this is a scene I think I took at a conference, where it's what we call poster session. So what happens in a poster session, it really looks like this. So it's a lot of boards, all right, and there's a lot of posters going on at the same time. The researcher will stand in front of a poster to talk to people, to present through their poster for anybody who is interested. This is not a manuscript. Basically, it is not like your written report. A poster is very different. That's something you need to understand. Don't copy and paste your report onto the poster, right? If you look at the context, so how will people be looking at poster? People will be walking through, like a bit like window shopping. All right. If you see that lady, there's one on the left side in a white jacket. She's holding food. So most of the times like this, we take some food and then we walk around. We just see um, things that may caught our attention, and then we go and take a deeper look, because there are so many things going on at the same time. People are going to be standing at about 1 meter at least, or 2 meters away from you and the poster. People are not going to spend a lot of time at your poster. All right, so these are a lot of consideration that make that are unique to poster presentation. So these are some of the posters that I have done before in the past that I presented at conferences. My favorite color is blue, so my poster tend to be quite bluish, right? But if you notice, I think at first glance, what you notice is there is not a lot of words. There is quite a lot of diagrams. Normally in posters, we don't, if you can just do bullet point, if even at a glance, you can see some of the bullet points already, especially under method section, right? There is very minimal text. Even if it's a paragraph, it's quite short. All right, so these are some of the characteristics of a poster. So it can be what we call a portrait or landscape. It can be either horizontal or vertical. Most of the time, it depends on the dimension of the board you are given. So if the board that you are given to present your poster is vertical, then you design your poster vertically, right? If not, you design it horizontally. All these are designed through PowerPoint, so you can use PowerPoint to design your poster. Most of us use PowerPoint anyway. All right. Okay, so this is a bad example of a poster. All right. Why? A lot of things. So okay, let me go back. If you look at this, all right, you are walking past and you see this. Will you stand there and look? Will you really stand? Because I tell you all the text, it will take you at least 15-20 minutes to read. All right. Nobody's gonna stand there to read. First and secondly, once I see so many text, I feel very tired already. All right. This is what we call a wall of text. So there's a lot of things. like, so the author of this poster, they put a picture of probably their lab building. All right, first it doesn't value add, right? No, everybody who sees is just going to see a building. It doesn't mean anything. It depends on your requirements. Some institution requires you to put like your school logo. Some don't. If you don't need, don't put, because again, it's a distraction. Nobody really cares where you're from. Where people care about your question. Secondly, is posters don't need abstract, because a posters is supposed to be very brief. What is an abstract? Abstract in a report or or a paper is a summary. Why do we need a summary? It's because the paper very long, right? That's why you need an abstract. So people will read the abstract, and then they decide whether they want the more details. Then they will go and read the whole paper. But in a poster, you shouldn't have so much details, all right? So you don't need an abstract, right? Then again, the introduction and all this is just too much words. Each paragraph, okay, I'll give you a tip later. Okay, so, and a lot of the font is too small, and of course, again, too much. Don't forget, people are standing 2 meters away, some even more, right? If your poster is very interesting, you get a crowd of people around you, right? You actually get a small crowd in front of your poster. So there are people who may be even standing behind people, all right? They need to be able to see. And when you present your poster, you are doing a presentation, you need to talk. All right. So it's a bit like PowerPoint, where you don't just stand there, or you just read yourself, lor. It's really not that. All right. So a poster is supposed to help you to present when people come to your poster and are interested to find out more, and then you guide them through it. So too much text, too hard to read, too tiring. All right. So a lot of things. And it's very cramped. So as a result, when it's very cramped, visually, again, it makes people feel very tired. The eyes are very tired. All right, so there's no room to breathe to some extent. All right, so that's a few things. A bit may have a bit too many graphics as well. We only want to put the key ones. So let me show you a very general poster template that we normally follow. All right, okay, remember I told you just now that a poster session has a lot of poster going on and people just are window shopping. You want to catch their attention, right? So you want an interesting title, all right? Or at least a title where people read, people know what generally what it's about. So if they are interested, they will go to you and ask you more questions or ask you to present your poster. All right, that's one. Secondly, you see introduction methods are very small section. So general guideline, it says 3 sentences maximum. All right. So basically just talk about what's your research question, why is it interesting, and your hypothesis. That's it. All right. Materials, methods as well. If you can use a bullet point, you don't have to write full sentences. You definitely don't have to write paragraphs. All right. It really doesn't help. Again, remember your audience is gonna be very far away. It is not a paper. If they're interested, they will ask you more questions. So you just want to write the main points. Again, this is where, especially under methods, we are very tempted to write down everything we've done before. We write down how many times we failed, how many times we need to repeat our experiments. Not necessary. All right, everybody knows you work very hard. You don't need to convince people. The very fact that you can have results to present as a poster, it itself shows your hard work. So you want to be able to communicate what's the interesting finding you have. So if then when I sentence the results in a poster, the results is the most important. That's why it takes up the biggest section. So if you have one or two your main graphics, right, like your graph, a simple graph, or basically results that once people know what your results is about, that will be the best. Right? Don't have too many. You definitely don't want to be too complicated. Again, when people are looking at a poster, they don't have that kind of energy, nor that time, nor the interest or the motivation to stand there and really try to figure out what your result says. So you just really want to present your main results. All right. And like I said, make it big. All right. So that once people see your graphic, once people see your figure, people know what's your main results. Don't even need to elaborate. All right. So again, your results is meant to lead to a conclusion. Again, keep it short. All right. So implication. So why is the outcome important? Why is the results interesting? Yeah. Again, don't just the main points. All right. You shouldn't have a lot of references actually. It should be just one or two, maybe in your introduction, even if there is any. Acknowledgement, I normally don't put acknowledgement because it's really a waste of space, but if it's necessary, go ahead, but be super brief. All right. Further information, that is normally we put our contact information if people wants to know. But if you are standing there already, so you should. Some people like to print out. I've seen people who print out a summary of their poster so that their audience who are interested, they can take away, and they have contact information as well. So if they want information, they can always email them. All right. So this is, yeah. Again, do I tend to put? Yeah, I will put my contact information. Because sometimes I'm not there, people can just, oh, people want to find out more, they'll email me. They never do, but just in case. All right, so same thing for if it's vertical template, same thing, you want your results to be your main thing. So these are some of the font size. So how do we do it in PowerPoint? In your PowerPoint, I think you have just play around with the settings. Your page size must be your desired print size. All right, so we normally print like A0 size. Smallest is A1. That's how big a poster has to be. All right. So you set that as a page size, right? So what I listed for you are all the font size. If you notice, it is very big. So you really don't have the space to put in a lot of text, and you shouldn't, right? So generally, it's make it neat, make it clean. You notice, yeah, we may have a color background like you saw on my sample, but we always have a very light color box or even a white box because it makes it easier to see. It makes it cleaner, right? You don't want it cluttered because again, it makes it very tiring. Once I see a cluttered poster, even if it's an interesting topic, frankly, I'm not interested because I feel very tired already. All right. So yeah, so this is a general poster template for you to take note. So let me go into some of the more specific tips. Again, title, you want to be very catchy. Briefly convey your research question so that, remember, people who are window shopping, people who walk past, when they see your title, I know what it's about. And then I can decide, is this something interesting to me or is this not? All right. Introduction, don't put in a lot of background information because really just keep to 3 to 4 sentences maximum. All right. You want people who have questions, they will ask you because you are there presenting a poster. All right. So it's not like a paper. When people are reading a paper, you are not there to explain things to them. So you need to be very clear. But a poster presentation, you are there. All right. So a poster is just meant to guide you and to just show the main point. It's a bit like PowerPoint presentation, right? You're supposed to just show main points. You're not supposed to put your whole script on the slide, right? So same thing, right? That's why don't ever copy and paste your report onto a poster. It's very obvious and it never works because once I see a paragraph, I know you copy and paste. All right. So what is the issue? Why is it important? Again, back to my dragon example. What is the dragon? Describe the dragon, and why is it important to kill the dragon? All right. What are some? If you have key hypothesis, what are some of the key prediction? This one you can actually put in point form. Right. So don't feel the pressure to have to write in complete sentences. Your English must be there, as in it has to be proper English, but don't feel the pressure to write in very complete sentences. All right, because you have to save space. So point form, bullet point, that's fine. Maximum 200 words, 3 to 4 sentences. Keep to that. Anything more is too much. It's too wordy. Nobody will read. All right. So again, methods be very brief. You have a flow chart that will be the best if your experiment come in steps or sequence. All right, or certain figures. Don't take a picture of your lab experiment and then put it there unless it means something. All right, so just remember that in the poster you don't have space. All right, so for everything that you put, every diagram that you want to put, you have to ask yourself, how does this help my audience understand my findings and my conclusion? All right. You don't have to show off your fancy experiment unless it is important and it really helps the audience understand what you done and your findings. Like if they don't know this, they won't understand the findings. All right. So some of the very brief stats analysis that you may have done. Right. Again, keep it very, very short. All right. So down the results, again, this is the most important and it's always the largest section in a poster. It's the experiment work, your research work. Sometimes it doesn't work. Right? Sometimes you don't get the results that you expect. Not getting the results you expect is also an interesting finding. Right. So you just need to explain. Using charts, using figures, please don't put like a 8 columns table. Is too big, is too much. Again, bear in mind that your audience are very far away. Everything that they see is going to be just glance, right? They are going to look at everything very briefly. They want more details, they will ask you, and then that's when you can give them, or hey, if you're interested, I can always forward you my report, email you my report where there's more details. All right. Okay, conclusion has to be your main major result. Again, not repeating everything. Is your hypothesis supported? Just briefly state yes, no, right? So what? Your hypothesis supported. So what? All right. So why is this important? All right. Why does this matter? Right. Again, keep it short. Shouldn't be longer than your introduction. Right. So I think I've been repeating this again and again and again. Don't be too wordy. All right. Don't copy and paste your report into the poster. All right. Once you do that, you'll be too cramped. Confirm. All right. Don't vary your width of your text box. If you also notice some of the examples that I showed you. All right. All our text box is, if it's on this column, it's all like that. It's all same width. Why? It looks neater. When you vary the width, it's very messy. And again, once it's messy, people get distracted, people feel tired. Visually, it's very tiring. All right. You are not, a scientific poster is boring in a sense in terms of design. It's very plain because we are not trying to, the best design for a scientific poster is one that is very clean, very neat, no clutter, almost like no fancy things lah. All right. Keep your width the same, at least within the same column. All right. Again, once you are too wordy, you have blocks of text, which I'm talking about a whole paragraph. All right. All I see, right, I'm not going to read. All I see is a wall of text. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to stand here for 10 minutes just to read. All right. You are not going to read also. All right. Again, once it's too wordy, it will be very small. Don't be too fancy in your colors. Stick to 2, maximum 3. All right. Again, too many colors, very distracting. It's the same for design. This design as well. They will tell you don't keep to simple colors. All right. Don't have too many font types. Again, it is very distracting. All these are actually the same principle for PowerPoint presentation as well, because you are doing a verbal presentation. All right. It's not a written report. All right. So anything when it comes to verbal communication, where you stand there and present, where your PowerPoint or your poster is a visual aid, all these are pretty general principles, because it basically built on the idea of people have limited visual attention and also limited energy. All right. If you do need to underline, don't do it. Right? If you want to emphasize certain things, use italics, but use it very sparingly. Like I should only see it like once, twice, or even maximum 3 times in the whole poster kind of thing. Why do you don't underline? Again, you are trying to minimize mess. Underlying is just add mess, all right, to the poster. So if you can, don't underline. If you want to emphasize certain things, use italics. Again, try to keep it minimal. All right. Dark text on white background usually works the best. And that's also why when we do boxes, right? Our color, if you notice, my poster can be blue, but in the text they have a white box or a very light blue box. All right. Actually, the white box works the best. I tried those light blue one, doesn't really work. All right. Do give a very brief title to your graph so that again, once people see the graph, because of the title, people know what it is about without even you explaining it. Once people see your graph, people know your entire results finding. Right? They know your conclusion already. And then, hey, I want more information. I'll go to you and ask you about it. Anything I must be able to see 2 meters away at least comfortably. That means I don't have to like squint my eyes trying to figure out what you are. I can stand at 2 meters away and I can look at it very comfortably. I don't feel tired. I can see it very clearly. All right. So do take note. These are details. It applies. If your details on your graph can be seen 2 meters away, everything else by right should be also be able to be seen at least 2 meters away, because that is where your audience will be standing. Again, keep it consistent, keep it very clean, keep it very tidy. It's just easier for people to follow. It's less distracting. Sometimes you want to have certain visual that attract people to read. I remember there was one poster because I was doing on culture. I faded a Malayan graph cartoon right behind, but it's very, very light. It's just meant as a background kind of thing. All right, so that caught some attention of some Singaporeans, and then they came and take a look. All right, so again, keep it very minimal. All right, and if you want, you can fade it out. General principle applies. Don't make it distracting. All right, you want to make it appealing. Be very focused. Again, I think it's the same message I'm repeating again and again. Focus on the dragon. Why you want to kill the dragon? Why it needs to be killed? Nothing else. All right. Not how you. Yeah, not the background story of the dragon. Nothing else. All right. Be focused. I'm gonna end off with this. Again, this is another picture I took of another conference. This is a poster presentation. Right? So imagine your school hall is all like that. That's what I mean by people are just gonna be walking around. People are standing 2 meters away. All right. If you notice even at a glance, some have too many words. All right. You're not gonna be able to read. You're not gonna read. All right. Some very nice. Far away you see their main graphic already. Far away you see the pie chart. You see the bar chart. Those are good posters. All right. It will attract attention. Results are the one that will attract attention. All right. And those that block of text, you see nobody is there because it's just too tiring. All right. So this is the context of a poster presentation. Okay, and with this, we'll just end here. If there's any questions.
Students, you may like to type into the chat, okay, if you have any questions.
Okay, there's a question about QR code. Yes, that's a very good point. Yes, you can put a QR code. Very good idea, actually. It can be a QR code to your, it's actually a very good idea. In a real scientific poster, we do that as well. All right, sometimes it's a QR code to our electronic business card or name card. Sometimes it's like I said, actually a report, a QR code that links to our paper. All right, yes, so that's a very good idea because it's small, it's safe space, and people just scan. Okay, let me see. How should you design your poster if same principle apply main points? So you can just put a QR code to your report. Yeah, again, nobody's gonna stand there and read. All right, they're just gonna glance. So you wanted main points interesting enough that people know briefly what the main things that you have done, what you have done. People want more information, more and more details, they'll go to your report. Okay. Okay, what's the difference between abstract and introduction? Abstract is a summary. All right, introduction is you introducing your research question. What's the research problem you're trying to solve? Why is this important? And what are some of your key hypotheses? So that's the introduction. Abstract is something we only see in a report or a paper because it summarizes everything, right? Abstract usually have say 2 sentences of where it comes from introduction, 2 or 3 sentences that come from methods, 2 or 3 sentences that come from results, and then you have 1 sentence from conclusion. That's a general abstract structure, right? So if it's a summary of your whole paper, introduction is not. Introduction really just introduce your research question and telling people, hey, why is it important? Right? For colors, can use different shades, yes, but again, keep it minimum. Always go with the idea of why do you want to do that? Does it help? There's no need to be fancy, really. Right? Introduction, how long's in words? I think I put in my slides maximum 200 words, but if you want to go with a better guideline that I use is 3 to 4 sentences maximum. All right. How do you choose which pieces of information to remove? That's a very good point. Challenge yourself. You have 5 minutes. Explain your research to me. Things that you mention will be things that's important. All right. When you force yourself to, it's very hard to be concise because our temptation is always, oh my goodness, I want to share all these details. Again, go with the main idea. What is your research question? Why is it important? 1 sentence. Why is it important? What are your key hypotheses? All right. Methods. Very briefly, what you have done. Maybe 1 to 2 sentences. Yeah, depending on your experiment methods actually. So yeah, so I can't dive deeper into the methods because it really depends on your research design. Then results again should be the bulk of it. But still shouldn't be too many words. Your discussion conclusion, sometimes we lump it together, right? So is your key hypothesis supported, not supported, or partially supported? Okay, so what does it mean? Put it in very layman term. And so why is it important? If you have maybe 1 sentence of future research, but again, we seldom put that. We put that in the paper lah, but we don't put it in poster. Yeah, I hope that helps. Is there such a thing as too little information? That is if you missed out the main points. For example, you tell me your research question, but you never give me at least even 1 sentence on why it's important. All right. If I read your methods and I still have no idea what the heck you did, at least the general frame. Because why do I need to know? Because if I don't know what is your research design, I don't know how you got your findings. If I don't know how you got your findings, I don't know how to interpret your results. If I don't know how to interpret your results, then I won't know how your question is answered. All right. So, but frankly, most of the time we make the mistake of having too much information rather than too little information. All right. Yeah. So I mean that your teachers are always around. If it's too little information, they will let you know. Yeah. So main thing. So we call this an elevator speech. Right? Imagine you got into the lift with, say, a neighbor, a friend, your parents, your grandparents. Elevator only 1 minute. You have 1 minute to explain what you did and what you found. All right. That will force you to really think what important things and what are things you don't talk about. So if you can challenge yourself to explain everything in 1 or 2 minutes, that will force you to filter out what is actually important and what's not important. Naturally, when you're under that time pressure, you will throw things out. I kind of hope, like I said, it takes practice. For a start, we always fall in the problem of too much information. Yeah. Yeah. I hope that helps. I'll stop share. Yep.
Hello, it seems